How ultimately did Paulie find out what was going on?
How did he find out?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but they were talking to Todd about it, and Paulie was on the other line, and they didn't know Paulie was listening in. The one guy did who called Todd. I can't remember who it was. It might have been New Jack or somebody.
They did it on purpose to expose.
Yeah, they did it on purpose to show Paul that Todd was double-crossing him. And Paulie was listening to everything Todd was saying, I'm not sure exactly what was said. Todd was saying, I'm going to ask for this much money, and I'm asking for this kind of car or this kind of hotel. And actually, Paulie was listening to everything.
So now, there's obviously immediate
Big heat with Paulie and Todd.
Do you guys see it explode, or is Todd keeping himself away now?
He was gone by then. Right. I mean, he faded away. Not really faded away, but he bowed out, and I think he let Paulie and this other guy buy his share of ECW, or they paid him off or something like that.
Why would he do this to his own company? That he had a major stake in?
Because him and Paulie wasn't seeing eye to eye not on anything. You know, not on money, not on angles, not on anything. So actually, Paulie kind of took the ECW from Todd. You know what I mean? He kind of took it without. In Todd's eyes, he didn't deserve it, and Paulie, in his eyes, Todd didn't deserve it.
So whatever payday he would have been getting from WCW, this being Todd, would have been worth it to just walk away.
Right. You know, after Paulie found out about that, he knew he couldn't be in the dressing room with Paulie, and be trusted, or you know. But you got to remember, the money, if it wasn't for Todd, there would never been no ECW. You know, it was his money what started it. It might not have been his ideas. See, ECW didn't start out to be extreme. It was Eastern Championship Wrestling. It only became extreme till I got there. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but before that, everybody else was wrestling WWF style or WCW style, but with a lot less pay. Then when I came in, I took it over. I did my style, which I learned from Japan, and I learned from my uncle throughout the years, and that became ECW style. You know, it was actually Sabu style. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but the ECW style, that wasn't the first. That wasn't the drive of the company at first. It happened that way. It fell into accident. You know.
So are you credited by the other guys at this time, the other ECW originals, for being the one to do that?
What's that again?
Are you being credited by the other guys as the one that changed it?
No. They all thought they did it. You know, I don't want to mention no names, but they all go like, it was. I can't say that. No, it was me, or it wasn't just Sabu. You know, it was us, and it was true. It wasn't just me, but they followed my lead. Terry Funk didn't. Terry Funk was already Terry Funk. He stepped his game up to give the fans what they wanted, instead of just being Terry Funk the name. He was Terry Funk the wrestler, the fighter, you know, the worker. He didn't just say, I'm Terry Funk the name, I'm not going to do nothing but just take one bump and then I'm a pin ya. He went out there and worked his ass off, and he took just as many bumps as I did, and he was there. Any spot or move I wanted to do, he never said no. Never. I said no to him a few times because I thought he was crazy. But I ended up doing it anyways. It's he for being his age, he could have just sat back and been Terry Funk and not did nothing. You know what I mean? And still got the respect. But he stepped it up to, he changed his game to that time. You know how everything progresses. He progressed also.
So there was no plan, to get back to your original point about 1994 when Eastern Championship becomes Extreme Championship. There's no plan from Gordon to take it in a different direction as far as style of work.
No. It was, like I said, it happened on accident. Of course, you know, everybody wants it to be different than everybody else and to be special, but there was really no blueprint for it other than, hey, Sabu went crazy, let's all go crazy. You know, and I wasn't going crazy. Everything I did, it wasn't the first time I'd done it. Most of the stuff wasn't the first time I did it, and I wasn't killing anybody. Most of the other guys were killing each other. I was taught to work and make it look like it's killing somebody without killing somebody. If you're killing somebody, then it's not that good of a work. He's very underrated, you know, because of his size, I guess. But he could go move for move with anybody, and he was as tough as anybody. You know, I loved him. I still love him. He's still a good guy. I mean, his work is still great. That was one of our better matches. That match, like I wrestled them a few times, and they were okay, but that match was better than any of our other matches.
What about it made it stand out?
I don't know what it was. It just, we didn't talk very much before the match. We didn't call that many spots. We just went out and did it. And see, my uncle taught me when I was young that a good worker doesn't have to. You can work with anybody. You shouldn't have to call or choreograph everything. A good worker was judged on how good you reacted on your feet, not how good you remembered the script. You know what I mean? So we didn't have no script or no pre-match real setup. Just a couple high spots, and the rest of it we took by ear, and that made it so much better. You know, to me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. To me, my best stuff came on accident. When it was planned out, I really didn't think it was that good. But when stuff happened on accident during my matches, that was my best stuff, I thought.
Was it awkward to work with Mick?
No.
No.
Why did it look that way?
No, he's a big guy.
No, he's comfortable.
That's tough.
No, it was comfortable because he never said no to nothing either. You know, no matter how crazy it was or anything, he never complained about being hurt or nothing. One time I was in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and I was cracking him in the head with a beer bottle, and he kept saying harder, and every time I hit him, it wouldn't bust, but I feel his head dent. And I kept hitting him, and finally the bottle busted. But I think I hit him about 6 times, 5 times, 90%, one time 100%, and it finally busted. And I was hurting him every time I hit him. I felt bad.
Now this show in Amarillo, he's with WWE at the time, and he's a big player over there. Are you told to go easy on him? Are you given any?
No, he didn't. No. He just said don't break his neck or something like that, and I said, of course, don't break my neck either. But no, we didn't take it easy or was instructed to take it easy.
But there's no representative from WWE there telling you how to. Okay.
If there was, they never came to me. You know.
There was a film crew there doing a documentary called Beyond the Mat. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I didn't want to be in it, but I knew about it. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Did you purposely keep yourself off camera?
Yeah. Well, because at the time, I was still trying to hold up kayfabe. They weren't, or nobody else was really. So I tried to stay away from it. You know.
What would your uncle have said about documentaries like that? I think, what was the one called that centered around Detroit? I Like to Hurt People, which was, kind of a work. It wasn't very much a documentary, but in this day and age, is there any merit to try and uphold any merits of kayfabe, or is it just over?
I guess there's. I don't know. I guess it's over. I guess you can only fool the people for so long. With the internet and stuff. If you're not truthful with them, they find out.
What would your uncle say to what's going on today?
Well, he was a visionary and a pioneer. So by now he would have gave in. By now. Back 15 years ago, there's no way he would have gave in.
Right, but he was malleable enough to change with the times, where he would have seen that this is the right way to go now.
Well, yeah, he'd see that's the way of the business, and that's the way of the way the business is turned.
With ECW having such a violent style and fans of the product at the time being very, very passionate about it, there must have been many opportunities for this type of stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Had you guys not diffused it or whatever, was there an official rule about how to deal with unruly fans at the shows?
Yeah. First, you could just beat them up, and it was no big deal, or fight them back. It was no big deal, as long as you didn't run from them. Now, then gradually it got to where we had security back us off them. That way we could save face without having to run away or beat the guy up or beat somebody up. You know what I mean? Because one time Van Damme, I think it was in Pittsburgh or somewhere, this one fan, he had Down syndrome or something, and he said something to Van Damme. Van Damme went over to him and ripped his shirt and punched him, but Van Damme didn't know the guy was mentally challenged or something. And the guy ended up suing ECW, and Van Damme felt bad about it. But the guy was calling Van Damme out, and Van Damme went over and ripped his shirt and beat him up a little bit. But he didn't know that the guy was, was handicapped. each guy came up with themselves. Van Dam came out as me. And Van Dam, he wore. I gave him a pair of my pants. He wet his hair down, and his hair looked dark. And he's wrestling this guy. Then I come in from behind, and when I watched it on videotape, I go, man, I don't remember wearing those pants. But it wasn't me. It was Van Dam. He looked just like me. The hair was over his face. It was pretty cool. But he came out dressed as me, and I came in from behind and attacked the guy. I forgot who we wrestled, but Van Dam was dressed as me. I'm surprised you don't have that on there. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he killed me. I remember Lance Storm goes, he said, before I came backstage, he said to Van Dam or somebody, he goes, I bet you everything hurts on Sabu except for his hair. Then when I come back, I go, the fucker pulled my hair out. The only thing I bitched about is pulling my hair out.
I mean, they were like missed spots, and just was he loaded that night?
Of course. There was acid floating around the dressing room. He took a double dose. He thought he'd seen Godzilla in the ring. He kept saying, here, lizard, lizard, lizard. He's talking to me. So whatever, he didn't know what, he thought he was fighting a monster. And I was just trying to stay alive. He was tripping big time. He wasn't the only one. There was like 10 other guys tripping too.
Before their match on a pay-per-view?
During the match.
That's what I'm saying. They dropped before a pay-per-view? Did Paulie go berserk?
Paulie didn't know, yes, but Paulie didn't know that was the problem until afterwards. He just thought everybody was going nuts that night. Excuse me.
What's he saying back there?
What's that?
What's Paulie saying back there?
You better come down by tomorrow. What can you say? You know. But I remember Sandman thought I was a big lizard. He kept saying, "Here, lizard, lizard, lizard." I go, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" He goes, "I dropped 2 hits." I said, "You son of a bitch! Ow! Ooh! You're killing me."
He had to do 20 minutes with that.
Yeah, he was killing me. Tag match, boom, boom, but it's like tornado style to where it's not really a tag. It's just everybody's going at the same time, and we try to leave it so 2 guys in the ring, 2 guys are out of the ring. Dreamer and Van Dam was out of the ring. Me and Sandman was in the ring. I was supposed to go chair, top rope, moonsault, bang, and then Van Dam was supposed to throw me a table. I went chair, top rope, Van Dam threw the table in while I was in the air. The table was upside down where the legs were up. So I landed past Sandman, and the table went right on my jaw and busted my jaw. And I fell out of the ring, come up all bloody. I went down for about 5 minutes. I came back up, and the people went nuts. It was brutal.
You didn't go to the hospital?
No.
Didn't you tape your head?
I crazy glued my lips closed, and I taped my mouth shut, and I had a straw just so I could drink some protein. And then 5 days later, I went to the hospital and had it wired.
Why didn't you go?
I just didn't. I don't know. Didn't feel like sitting in a waiting room. So Van Dam helped me glue my mouth shut. Or glue my lip shut, glue my lip closed, and then I taped my mouth up and had a straw in my mouth so I could drink a protein shake.
How many teeth did you lose?
Just 1.
Oh.
But it cracked my jaw under here.
Do you regret?
I regretted that night.
Well, but I mean in general, it's a certain attitude that causes a night like that. There's nothing in the air that night.
No, I don't regret like
the way you worked a little bit.
What's that?
The way you worked. Do you regret it at all?
Do I regret it? No, heck no. The only thing I regret, I wish I could have got paid more, but what makes me me is the way I work. Not because, if I regretted it, then I'd be a miserable motherfucker. But since I'm just a miserable motherfucker anyways, I wish I could have made more money at it. But I would have still did it even if I didn't get paid at all. I would have did it the same way if I would have made millions of dollars. The money at that point didn't matter.
Was there a way to work those matches but be safer?
I was pretty safe. The safe is what you make of it. I didn't intentionally go into a match. I don't intentionally go into a match saying I'm gonna break a bone tonight. I say I'm going to go into this match and I'm going to try hard. And if I break a bone, then I'll scoop myself up and do it again tomorrow. But I don't, like a lot of people have misconception thinking I go into a match knowing and wanting and thinking I'm going to get hurt. I don't know, I don't want to, and I don't think I'm going to get hurt. You know, if I did that, I wouldn't even go to the ring. But I'm not afraid to be hurt. I don't want to get hurt. Who does? You know, it hurts to get hurt. It's painful to be hurt. But I wouldn't change it. The only thing I would change, like I said, I'd like to make more money at it. I wouldn't have changed it for nothing.
In '97, where things are still good there, right? We're the first year of pay-per-views. You guys are making money. No checks are bouncing yet.
Right.
You guys see a legitimate future here. I mean, we're entering December now in our discussion. So, as the year's coming to a close, you see a positive future for ECW, yes?